Hi, I'm David and welcome to another Scalar 3 video. This one here, I don't want to get too in-depth about what Scalar 3 can do because there's loads of videos on that, but really look at how Scalar 3 can be the harmonic author to the music you're making. And that is really just to come up with the ideas within Scalar 3 and feel comfortable about the harmonic direction you're taking and then feed it into things like Logic Pro 12 Chord Track or the excellent Tonalic or even Easy Keys too. So let's check out how we can come up with a really cool song idea just from doing exactly that. Okay, so I'm starting with a vocal.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely.
I'd love to know what key it is. I'm going to call up Scalar EQ. I'm calling up Scalar EQ, not Scalar 3 or Scalar Detector, because the latter two are primarily designed to detect chords, whereas this is only designed to detect the key and scale of a tune. So let's have a listen.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely.
Okay, cool. So B minor. Sounds good. That is correct. So that's great. Now I'm going to open up Scalar 3 and I've come up with some chords in Scalar 3. I've literally gone into the B minor scale, found loosely the chords that I think go with. And then what I've done is I actually, just to give you a very quick example, let's say I pulled in a B minor chord there, and then I kind of opened it up, the B minor chord, thought it'd be nice to give it a bit more density, so I just moved the density up, to make it a thicker chord, which I thought was quite nice. And then I just played around with deleting some chords, some notes, close. And I quite like that simplicity. And that really is a B minor without the fifth and the third an octave above. So it's kind of like an open voicing without the fifth. And I really love that. And Scalar helped me do that. So then I came up with a chord progression. I just followed that principle. I used the same chords from the scale, the B, the D, the G, and then the A. And I just basically did exactly the same thing, and you can see they're all voiced the same way. There are no fives. So that gives me a really nice, smooth, open chord progression. Yeah, and I came up with the syncopation just by playing it. And if I take it out of door sync mode and we test how it sounds against the vocal, just to make sure, which is exactly what I did.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely. Promise me a change, promise that I was the only. Always.
Now I want to go somewhere else, but let's just start with that simple chord progression. Now what I want to do is use Logic Pro 12's Chord Track and Tonalic. But before I do, I just want to make sure that that's the right chord progression. So in Scalar 3, I've added a bass follow track, and it is just simply following the chords. And I've added some of my own samples in there, within a contact date. And I just want to make sure harmonically this tune makes sense.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish.
Sounds good. So I'm just going to put it back into door sync. I'm going to turn the cycle locators on. So it just stays in sync with Logic, but it just repeats those chords. Just want to make sure these chords, this bass line, that vocal work for an idea for a tune.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely. Promise me a change, promise that I was the only. Always the same.
Cool. I think they work great. So now it's time to start feeding some players and trying to get some other melodic ideas and some bass lines. Now I can input this live into Logic Pro Chord Track, but just to keep things simple, I'm just going to, as I've got the right rhythm, the rhythm that I love, I'm just going to export those chords straight here. I'm going to right click on the chords that has the correct rhythm, and I'm going to go to Chords, and I'm going to say, please apply the region chords to the chord track. And Logic should do its thing. It'll take a moment. It'll analyze those scalar 3 chords. Cool. Okay, that's great. And you can see there, B minor, D, G major 7, A. Okay, so now let's cycle around this area. And let's ask Logic for some help. I'm going to go to the session player. I'm going to call up keyboard, player, and arpeggiator. Sounds great. Let's create that. And now it should be following Scala's chords. Cool. I want to go one step further. Whilst we're here, I'm going to call up a bass player. And yeah, I'm just going to keep it fairly stock standard, shall I? Pump bass. That sounds good. Yeah, it sounds like the right idea. I'm actually just going to move it up an octave. Yep, sounds good. And I'm going to move the intensity up just so we can hear it a little bit more. Okay, cool. Now, I've got some drums. You can see the tempo is 174. I'm planning on doing this in drum and bass style, so I'm definitely going for that flavor. So let's see how it sounds with the drums. Yeah, I think it's definitely the right vibe. I haven't put in the vocal yet because I'm going to leave the big party stuff until later. But what I really want is I want some kind of melodic, a bit more of a melodic feel or a bit more of a motif. So I'm going to call up the excellent Tonalic. I love this thing. Made by Celemony and made by professional players. And it's really easy to use. You can see a lot of these performer type tools come out. They're very gimmicky, but this one actually feels great. And watching the demos, I thought, okay, it's a bit more funk or country orientated, but I've found it to be exactly the opposite. You can really contour it to do whatever. So I'm going to call up Uwe Bossert. I hope I got that right. He's best known as the guitarist of the German pop rock band Ramon. So he's obviously the real deal. I'm going to pull him up. I'm going to look for something poppy. Okay, muted arpeggio electric guitar. I'll have a quick listen. Sounds good. Let's get the chords into Tonalic, shall we? Now, I've exported these chords to my desktop. So with Tonalic open, you can see here I've got the chords in a MIDI file. And I'm going to just drag them straight to... I think we're on bar position 33. Yeah, you can see Tonalic's already telling me which bar it is. And incredibly, just as I was dropping the chords down, it just said, well, here's your correct chords. Now I'm going to go back to Uwe and I'm going to pull in that, where was it, the muted arpeggio electric guitar. That sounds good. We're going to click on it, main 3. Yep, sounds great. And I'm going to drop it in and it should now follow those chords. And of course, those chords are also Logic Pro 12's chords and also Scalar 3's chords. All of it should just be working together. Let's have a listen. Yeah, and just to make it clear what Tonalic is doing, I'm going to open up Tonalic and you can see I've got a few things I can play with. I'm going to put it towards the vocal because I really want to drive this vocal motif thing home. Okay, so
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and...
Yeah, I think that's sounding really nice. I've taken the effect down. It kind of had that reverse delay vibe going on, but I want it to just be a little bit clearer. Bringing in, say, the arpeggiated piano.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. History...
Yeah, it sounds really lovely. Scalar 3.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely.
Okay, cool. And now I'll bring in that bass player.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely.
Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to start extending the arrangement, and I want to have a little bit of a turnaround on the fourth set of chords. So if we start at bar 33, we're going to end up at bar 49. So between 45 and 49, I'd like a slight variation on the chord progression. So what I'll do is I'll copy it twice, and I'll leave the final 2 bars for a variation on those chords. Fairly straightforward in Logic. Grab the chord progressions, the chord track, and the regions, and copy them. In Scalar, it's also fairly straightforward. Everything's been added to a scene, so I can just copy that scene. That should work lovely. Now I should be able to open Tonalic, and with Tonalic, it's basically the same thing. I can grab the chords, duplicate chords, duplicate the chords again. So we've done it 3 times effectively. There's 3 sets, which is exactly what I want. It's quite an interesting way of working. It's not entirely foreign to me because I've got to duplicate the tonalics here. It's how I've worked often when I'm using things like the MPC or the Native Instruments machine, where you're kind of working in sync with your DAW and having to do it. Celemony does support ARA support, which is really cool because it means everything can follow the one chord track. But for now, we've extended it to 3. They should all be in sync. Let's have a quick listen. We'll hear more of the vocal, and we'll hear that chord progression repeated a few
History
times.
repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely. Promise me a change, promise that I was the only.
Okay, so I'm just curious, going back to Scalar, if I want a slight variation rather than the B, the D, the G and the A, if I make a final copy, so it'll play between bar 45 and 49, I'm going to go back to the original scale, and I've kind of been doing this. And I think maybe instead of coming back to the B, I could go, I haven't used it, the E minor, so the 4th chord. Yeah, I think that's pretty simple. So probably the easiest thing for me to do here in Scalar is to get rid of that D major. I think this is what I was doing, wasn't it? I was kind of just getting rid of those 2 chords and saying, make this the E minor. And probably the easiest way for me to do this is just drop the semitones until we get all the way back to E. So we'll see it clock up in E in a second. There we go. So -7. So now that's given me that E, and it should go as a final turnaround. And I think that's quite cool. So there's many ways I could do this in Logic, but I could just grab the D chord, come over again to the B minor, say edit chord, and I simply, instead of B, I just write the letter E. That should work. E, perfect. So it's doing exactly what I want. I don't want that A, we want it to go the whole way. Cool. Let's have a look at how to do that in Tonalic now. I'll need to repeat it one more time. So I'll duplicate my Tonalics. I'll take these chords. Where are they? Here. And I'll duplicate these chords. And again, I'm going to delete this chord, and I'm going to extend the B minor. And I think you guessed it, I want it to be an E minor. So I could go up or down, but I'm going to transpose it down 7 semitones to E minor. So let's just quickly check and make sure that makes sense, shall we? Oopsie, I did a little boo-boo. I changed the wrong one in Logic, but that's fine. I'll move it over, copy that original B minor across. Now I'm going to copy their players across, and the players should follow that E minor into G. So should Tonalics, and so should Scalar 3. Let's start firstly with listening to Tonalic and Scalar 3. Sounds good. Let's listen to the arpeggiated keyboard player. That's definitely not right, and that's because silly me has said E instead of E minor. So yeah, I should have paid a bit more attention to Scalar, which was telling me it's an E minor. So here we go. This should sound better. since I've got this excellent Tonalic following me along, I'm going to say, cool, I've been using, for the first 3/4 of that section, I've been using main 3. So maybe for that turnaround when we go to the E minor, I might just use something else. So let's just pull this main down and let's hear how that sounds. I think that sounds really nice. That feels like it's giving me a variety. Okay, let's hear the whole section now with the vocal, with Scalar 3, with Tonalic, and with the Logic players.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely. Promise me a change, promise that I was the only. Always the same, wish I didn't wait till you showed me. History repeats.
I think it sounds really good. If we come in with the drums now, just make sure we've got our proof of concept down.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely. Promise me a change, promise that I was the only. Always the same, wish I didn't wait till you showed me. It's only one.
Okay, so you can see there I'm extending it because I've got the vocal going for a while. So I think it's pretty straightforward in Tonalic. We just want to grab the whole lot. We want to go from here to here and duplicate the Tonalics, and again from the whole chord progression in Tonalic, and we want to duplicate those chords. We've already done so in Logic. Final thing is Scalar, and we want to just select all of these scenes, and again we just want to duplicate these scenes, and I think we should have everything ready to go. Let's have a listen to the whole thing.
History repeats, feeling pretty dumb and lonely. Wish I could delete everything we shared so closely. Promise me a change, promise that I was the only. Always the same, wish I didn't wait till you showed me. Only one, shame on the unfairness. Fool me twice, seems I've lost my common sense. Whoa, should I know? Not to lower my guard. Oh, I lost control.
Cool. I think what I'm trying to demonstrate here is how I can quickly get up a really cool idea for a track that inspires me, that feels harmonically correct, and that has some real players on it. And given we're moving away from this piece-by-piece audio production and moving towards this new way of writing music, it's really nice to get that human feel but be in control, and that's what Scalar's done for me here. It's enabled me to come up with some really cool chords. It's enabled me to make sure that the bass line works and it's all harmonically correct. Feed Logic 12 Pro's track, take advantage of the session players, look at things like Tonalic or Easy Keys too, and really come up with original music that you've created yourself without any help of any artificial third parties. Oh, and one more thing. You'll notice that I've had my little iPad sitting here for a little while whilst making this video. And I want to point you to Scalar 3 on the iPad. And I think if there's ever been a loud community, I don't think I've heard a louder one than our iOS community, who have been a little upset that it's taken such a while to get Scalar 3 to the iPad. But let me tell you, we've been testing it for the last month with a huge range of beta testers. It's a fully functional app. It does everything Scalar 3 does. Same program. It's so wonderful to use. You can go as you would to the Explore page, and let's go dark. You can drag your chords and ideas around. You can come across the Arrange page. You can open up the effects and do all your usual things. And of course, you can open up. Let's just pull up a little articulation here. And more relevantly, you can just call up your favorite third-party instrument or AUV3. It's really cool. It's super flexible. It just all works so lovely. And most importantly, it's out very, very soon. And we're very excited to share it with you. And thank you to the patience of all the Scalar 3 iOS community. Scalar 3 and the iPad will be with you very soon. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.